crafters, thanks for joining me and welcome back to Margaret Knob Designs. And today I have a special video. It's a collaboration that we are doing throughout the year 2022, the last day of the month, that we will be doing Christmas items. We're not doing tutorials on them necessarily, but to show you what we're working on to get ready for in the month of December. So the name of the collaboration is #Christmas365, and the names of collaborators will be down in the notes below the video so that you can hop along with us to see all the other different designs and collaborators. There's no theme to it other than it's Christmas, and so we can choose whatever we'd like to do. So today what I'm bringing you is not an original design by a long shot. The first person that I ever saw do this design was Tammy from Country Craft Creations, but I know that it's something that has been out there and has been used. And I think it's a really cute, simple, inexpensive gift to give, and really the choice or size is completely up to you. So the thing that I like about this is that you can see that they're all tied up, but if you take that tie down, you can actually lay these flat. So what I'm going to do then is for Christmas, I'm thinking about making these. I have about 30 people that report to me and or are in my department, and I give them Christmas gifts every year. So I'm thinking about doing these small boxes. I'm not sure what I'm going to fill them with, so down in the below in the comments, I would love for you to tell me maybe some unique ideas that are inexpensive. I don't want to spend a ton of money for inside. Of course, I can do chocolates or other types of candy, but are there other things that you can think of that might be kind of fun to do in these? And this I'll tell you what I'm doing for each one of these, and I'll show you individually. So this one is done with 12 by 12 paper, and actually I also did this cuts the pattern paper with 8 by 8 paper. It really wouldn't work to use 6 by 6 paper because the fact is that you will not waste, but you won't get a lot out of each sheet. And this works really well with 12 by 12 pattern paper or 8 by 8 pattern paper. So with this is a unique design from Country Craft Creations. It was designed by Tamara. And there is more of a solid sheet, and then these are ornaments throughout, and I put a different sheet down in the bottom. And then this is just some ribbon from my stash that I put it all together and hold that all together. And so basically I want to tell you how to make these. They're very, very simple, just because there's not a lot to show you today, but I wanted to show you how to go ahead and do these boxes. So this one is used with a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and this one is made with a 9 by 9 paper. So in order to do that type of design for that, I'm going to grab a sheet of paper. Sorry for my head. I should have gotten this out ahead of time, and I didn't. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how you're going to do a 9 by 9. And this way, because it's the same way for the 12 by 12, I'm going to take a piece of the artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations, and I'm using this one because it doesn't, like when you score it, it doesn't have a white core, is bottom line what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this 9 by 9. And so if you're using a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, obviously you don't need to cut it at all, which is always nice, not wasting any paper. But then what I'm going to do is each one of these boxes, or I call it a candy dish, you're going to make two scores on both sides. The one for 9 by 9 is going to be the first score that you're going to do is you are going to score at 3 inches, and then you're going to score at 6 inches, and then you're going to turn your paper and you are going to score again at 3 inches and then at 6 inches. And that's the easy scoring done. The reason why I like this size better is because I can then take this piece of cardstock, and on the 12 by 12 it's a lot more difficult to try to get the score lines, because what we're going to do is we are going to score from the middle here where these two scores meet going down to here. So I can line this up on my cutter and I can go in and do the not vertical but angle scoring. Now I want to show you one thing. I went over in that corner. That really doesn't matter because you're going to cover that with designer paper. So if you go a little bit over, don't worry about it. It won't ruin anything. So I'm going to go along and do all four of these corner rectangles. And I turn that all around. And then, like I said, with a 12 by 12, you can't, in my cutter, it doesn't work. I can't seem to do it. So basically what I do when I'm using a 12 by 12, I use my ruler and I score it just down flat, because it just doesn't work on my scoring board. And I also tried it on my larger scoring board, the 12 by 12 scoring board, and it works. You can do it, but I seem to have a problem. Like if I was laying it on my 12 by 12 scoring board, I have a hard time making sure that this actually goes in the same crease same times. So the next thing that you're going to do these is fold in all your score lines. And I would also score this, and that's the other reason for using the, not score it, but burnish it. But that's another reason why I like the Artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations, is that it is, again, there's no white core in it, number one. I dislike a white core. I love Cartabella paper. I like the designs that they have, but I really, really, really dislike the white core. And the same thing, Graphic 45 has a white core. Many, many, many of the paper companies do. So that's why I really like this cardstock. It's not designer paper, but it's cardstock. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is to get my angled score. And the easiest way I found to do it is I lay this down like this onto the flat part, and I bring that scored piece up, and then I burnish it down. So hopefully you can see this. So what I do is I bring this side up, match it up there, and then bring this piece that was scored, and I press it down, and then I burnish it. So let's do that again. I bring this over, then bring this back, and I score it. And oops, bring this one over, bring this side piece back, and there you go. That's everything that you need to do for scoring and getting this put together, other than one more thing. There's only really one other thing other than the designer paper that you put in here. So if you have a moment, please write this down. For the 9x9 candy board, like I said, you're going to score at 3 inches and then 6 inches. So 3, then 6, and then turn it once, 3 and 6, and then you're going to score along the angled edges, and then you're going to cut the paper for this. I usually do a solid or a pattern cardstock, and then a pattern cardstock in here as well. So what you're going to do is, for all these squares, you're going to cut double the amount of pattern cardstock, and those are going to be 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 for every one of these squares, front and back. And you can use the same color on all of them. I like to use the same pattern paper on the outside and the inside because I can get every one of these squares and a 12 by 12 piece of paper. And the only thing that I'm going to need, and you don't even have to do this piece, this can be left black, but then I pull another paper, complementary paper that comes in, and I put that in the square, and I put it in the square inside that bin. Otherwise, the rest of this is all done. This is the A side, this is the B side of the 12 by 12. So one piece of 12 by 12 gives you all your pieces for your pattern paper. And then your other pattern paper that you're going to use in these triangles, you're going to cut these at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then you are going to cut them in half. And then once you have cut them in half, you just match them up and you'll get a little border around each one of those pieces. So that's for the 9 by 9. I'm going to give you the measurements for the 12 by 12. It's exactly the same setup for it, except for the size is different. So for the squares, you're going to need 9 or 10 pieces of 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And then you're going to need 8 pieces of 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that it'll look exactly this way, only in a 12 by 12 size. So I want to show you a couple other things real quick. I did these smaller ones. They're really, really cute. But this bigger one, when Tamara made this from Country Craft Creations, one of the things that I thought was such a great idea, she was giving it to her husband in some other types of more manly Christmas paper. But what she did is she made a hot chocolate bowl. So she put like hot chocolate in there. She put spoons and some other flavorings in there, and then maybe some sugar and things like that. But she put it all in this really cute container that he could take into work with him and share the hot chocolate with the other people that he was working with. So I thought that was a great idea. So the 12 by 12, you know, rather than putting candy, because this will hold a lot of candy, this is really a great idea to use it for like a hot chocolate bowl. Really is very cute, or some kind of other drink, teas or whatever. Now these ones, I've done these before and I've done them with candy, and to be very honest, they hold a lot of candies. So, or you can even put candy canes in there, or you know, something in here and something in here. They all come together in the bottom, but they it holds a lot, even though it doesn't look that big. One of the things that I want to warn you about, and I'm going to untie this ribbon, so I'm going to show you what I do with this. First of all, this all comes together because what we end up doing is we bring, if you can see these little points, can you see these points here? I go in with my Crop-A-Dile and I just eyeball it, and I put these two sides together and I punch a hole. And that's what we're going to put the ribbon around, the hole. The thing that I need to warn you about though is that your Crop-A-Dile, let me grab mine real quick. I used the bigger hole, but when you put this in to go in to put the hole in there, this other side comes along here, and if you're not careful to keep it all inside, it's going to make a little hole right there in your dish. So when I did this, by going like this, I put the big side on this edge, and my second puncher went in here. So just be careful of that. And as you can see where I have the ribbon pulled down, you see where I can pull it all apart and then put it flat so I could make, you know, a whole stack of these and then just have to tie them all together when I'm ready for Christmas. The other thing that I found that works really well, this is one of my last tips I'm going to give you, is I put the ribbon all the way around, and then I tie it. And this is about 18 inches of ribbon. Don't, you know, it's not an exact science. I usually just kind of try to figure out what's the right amount. This one ribbon isn't probably as long. It's a little bit of a different texture. And this one, you know, I have a lot hanging down and all over. And usually at the bottom of my ribbons, on the edges of my ribbons, I put fray check so that I can make sure they don't fray. So what I found is that I tie it all together in, you know, one tie, and then what I do is I go either over and then under. And the reason why I do this is because I feel like it pulls the center of everything together a little bit better. And you definitely don't have to do that. You can pull it together and tie it in such a fashion that the ribbon hangs down one side, but I found that doing it this way, I get a better bow on top of my box than just hanging down one side. So that is my hashtag Christmas 365 tutorial. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this quick video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. There's a new project coming up soon for my channel and a design team project, so I look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.